Hello, this is James Anderson on behalf of SDBullion.com, and here we're going to cover a few of the biggest reasons to own silver bullion this decade. Silver bullion currently, in my humble opinion, owns one of the best asymmetrical bets moving forward, meaning that it has a limited downside potential versus an extremely high upside potential to come. So let's get into those reasons. Full disclosure, we both privately buy and save silver bullion ourselves for the long term, while also having created one of the United States' largest online silver bullion dealerships. For nearly 10 years now, we've securely delivered silver bullion to hundreds of thousands of customers' doors and to their fully insured non-bank bullion depository accounts. Be it for private wealth preservation or for an individual retirement account, we're about to quickly cover some key reasons to own silver bullion this decade. Reason number 1. Silver is still a store of value money. While silver is no longer widely circulating, savers around the world are increasingly buying silver bullion as a way to diversify their savings away from purchasing power losses associated with rapidly increasing fiat currency supplies. The word silver in various widely spoken languages, literally or figuratively, still means money to billions of people in the modern world. The Bank for International Settlements, the central bank of the central banks, illustrates with this money flower graph that all forms of contrived human currency derivatives are sourced from hard, precious metal monies. It's for this real reason that central banks currently own about 1 in 5 ounces of gold ever mined. History shows, like their human inventor lifespans, the value of every flawed human currency contrivance will one day end. As the world increasingly moves to digitize payment settlements controlled by central banks, physical precious metal bullion products remain very private, rare, and molecularly nearly indestructible. Physical precious metals will retain real value as both their industrial and investment demand continues to grow. Reason number 2. Silver is historically cheap. Often described as poor man's gold, silver is much less expensive per ounce than other precious metals, but yet silver shares many similar rare desirable qualities that they all enjoy. This chart shows all 4 major precious metal prices since the world fully untethered from the still dominant fiat US dollar and its former gold backstopping in 1971 to today. If we consider the US government's multi-decade underreported consumer price inflation index, known as the CPI, silver is currently cheap versus where it has historically previously peaked before. If we instead use methods that the US government used to use to track inflation before silver's still 1980 record price high near $50 an ounce, the value of silver in terms of real inflation ongoing is perhaps as low as it has ever historically been. Reason 3. Increasing industrial applications for silver demand. Silver is the most reflective metal. It reflects 95% of the light spectrum, hence its historical usage in mirrors. Silver is both the most electronically conductive and the best thermal transmitter of all metals. It's also germicidal and thus used in various antibacterial applications, and it's only slightly harder than gold, so silver is also easily malleable and ductile. Like all rare precious metals, silver is only originally produced in violent star explosions, making it a very rare and precious metal here in Earth's crust. Silver will hopefully one day prove pivotal as we evolve to become an interplanetary species. Reason 4. Silver is critical in technology and to foster a cleaner environment. Silver makes electronic vehicles more efficient as it's used to establish lightweight but strong electronical connections between the batteries and other car components, helping to maximize battery capacity and reduce weight, which helps vehicles to increasingly achieve greater mileage efficiencies. Silver helps solar panels, photovoltaic cells, capture the electrons produced from sunlight. Being the best conductor of electricity, silver is the most effective metal for producing electricity from the sun's rays. Just a troy ounce of silver is capable of being stretched into a wire 1.5 miles long, while also being able to conduct large amounts of electricity. Now, these qualities are highly useful in high technological applications, especially in small and compact products, such as the cell phones or wearable technology or the computer you're looking at right now. Increasingly, silver is being used in medicine as it's naturally antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. And silver can destroy more than 650 different pathogens as its ions penetrate and destroy bacterial and viral cell walls without injuring human cells. We're still discovering incredible applications for silver every year. Reason number 5. Government central banks will inflate fiat currencies away. Record debt and unfunded liabilities in the USA alone are at an estimated running total of over $200 trillion in net present value. Basically, an unpayable sum in real value terms. $200 trillion is an amount so large the human mind reels trying to understand its size. With now an almost $30 trillion record high hard US government debt level, in an economy that produces just under $4 trillion in tax revenues, yet consistently produces budget deficits by spending way more than the income it brings in, thus increasing the record debt figure annually, all while legally having hundreds of trillions in unfunded liability promises to increasingly pay this decade and into the next, the most likely way out of this unpayable debt and promise pile problem in real terms is to sharply devalue the currency unit in real purchasing power terms via high, stubborn, secular inflationary environment like we are beginning to experience now. Meaning a fiat US dollar today will likely buy way more in goods and services than the same unit might buy years from now, and certainly decades from now, if it lasts in its current machination without full confidence failure here to there. Sadly, we're likely to see decades of promises coming undone in real value terms. It's best to get ahead of that now. At any time in the near future, a debt and fiat currency crisis of confidence could vastly reshape the future values of various asset classes. Silver bullion is one of the lone assets you can own outright in hand that has no contingency liabilities, nor is tethered to record debt and unfunded liabilities, an estimated running total of over $200 trillion in net present value. Owning a prudent pile of physical bullion makes sense, given these risk-laden record debt and liability factors we just mentioned. Reason number 6. Bubbles in nearly every asset class. If you follow the buy low, sell high adage, you might want to take note of the times we find ourselves in. We're living in an age that financial historians will likely refer to as the world's largest financial bubble era. The United States is at the very center, driving this ongoing phenomenon for now. Be it in overvalued bond valuations, when we know record-sized corporate and government debt levels will not get paid back in real value terms. Still too, bloated fiat currency values, with central banks never before blowing out their monetary-based currency supply levels, as they recently have. For instance, in the USA, we've blown out our monetary base by more than 1/3 in the last few years. Basically everything but commodities and precious metals are at all-time highs in terms of historic valuations. Commonly owned asset classes like stocks or real estate have now blown away their respective 2000 and 2007 bubble levels. But we can cut through some of the bloated fiat currency noise and measure stocks and real estate over the long term versus silver bullion. For instance, the cherry-picked Dow Jones Industrial Average, when divided by silver, illustrates a dead cat bounce formation, a long-term target of eventually returning back beyond the 2011 low and possibly one day back towards the 1980 range is not out of the question. That paints a picture of a potential of 5 to 75 multiple valuation gain for silver bullion versus the Dow in the coming decades. Next, we have real estate. The average price for a home in the USA is now nearly $500,000 in fiat US dollars. And basically, that's near 20,000 ounces of silver bullion. Again, when we look at this long-term chart, it shows a stubborn dead cat bounce formation over the long term, and the potential rollover target should go beyond the 2011 low and possibly one day back towards the 1980 low. And that paints a picture of a possible 4 to 10 multiple valuation gain for silver bullion over the average US house price in the coming decades. Reason number 7. Silver's been systematically suppressed. Commercial banks have to date paid billions to settle various criminal, public, and private lawsuits documenting their cartel-like behaviors in suppressing silver and other precious metal prices for sheer gain and bonus-making greed. Governments and their central banks have only given the impression of doing anything about this since it's become so obvious, documented, and brazen. But the truth is, the financial system is failing. And a screaming gold and silver price will likely be one of the final outcomes of this inevitable fact as this debt cycle comes to an end and the coming global financial system transition comes into effect. On this SD Bullion YouTube channel over the last few years, we've exhaustively covered many sordid details on systematic precious metals price and valuation rigging. As a result of many decades holding precious metal valuations down, we believe this will inevitably end in physical bullion shortages for silver bullion and likely for gold bullion too. The last few years have already given us a preview and forewarning of this. We expect an acute physical bullion shortage where any available bullion will be priced at premiums well beyond spot price. And in any legitimate size, it becomes virtually unattainable within reasonable timeframes of delivery. Reason number 8. Increasingly, silver is being bought as an investment. Be it neither inferior yet increasing unsecured silver ETF and closed-end fund inflows, or with marked increases in silver bullion coin bar and private round buying outright. This increasing trend of silver bets as short, medium, and long-term investments is likely to expand this decade from retail to financial whales as a growing silver squeeze movement ramps higher in every stratum of wealth. In a world now with nearly 1 quadrillion or 1,000 trillion in total assets held on balance sheets, the physical silver bullion supply is laughably tiny, valued at roughly 100 billion or so currently. In other words, silver bullion is currently only around 1/10,000th of all assets claimed around the world. It will not take much more in silver investment inflows to run silver valuations up another exponential price climbing wall. Reason number 9. Fear of loss will stampede away all-time greed. Eventually, this fear of missing out era will lead to a market fear of loss stampede as unsecured promises on paper begin undeniably defaulting in real value terms. Fear is the strongest emotional trigger in financial markets, and it's why the bubbles commonly take escalators up and then roller coaster vertical falls downwards in real valuation terms. And while persistent fiat currency price inflation, propped stock and bond markets, can buy perceptions of the system time and mask the valuation fallouts that are ongoing, the crowd's failing confidence threshold is an unknown tsunami that's building. At the end of this video and in the show notes below, I'll leave many links, and one in particular to a video we produced deeply researching the coming potential inflows of high net worth investors into the bullion market to come, entitled What It Takes to Be a Silver Whale. In short, the wealthy Western world has next to no precious metals investment allocations. Yet. If they don't front-run the crowd sooner than later, they'll likely find themselves only able to buy inferior unsecured precious metal derivatives and/or risky leveraged minor bets, not bullion at reasonable prices, nor in size delivered within reasonable time frames. My strong suggestion here is to secure your physical prudent bullion positions in tranches now, not later. Reason number 10. Silver bullion offers peace of mind. It's a back-tested proven fact that throughout this full fiat currency era, now over 50 years running, owning a prudent bullion position along with stocks and bonds has been a proven successful strategy. For silver, historically, there are marked moments when it outperforms all other asset classes. We have both made personal and professional long-term bets that will again see silver shine given the various reasons and fundamental drivers underway. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel as we consistently give complimentary SD Bullion market updates weekly. And to learn more about our SD Bullion business, here is a brief introduction as we assist our customers to save proven precious metal stores of value for the long term. And as always out there, take great care of yourselves and those you love. SDBullion.com is a high-volume physical gold, silver, and precious metal dealer. Founded in March 2012 with the goal of providing the lowest cost bullion available, SD Bullion has become one of the largest US-based precious metal dealers and is regularly recognized by Inc. magazine as one of America's fastest growing companies. Having now served over 100,000 customers around the world with over 10,000 positive online reviews, SD Bullion continues to gain industry market share by being one of the premier low-cost options for physical precious metal bullion buyers and sellers. At SDBullion.com, you can order your guaranteed physical precious metal bullion products online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Discreet, low-cost delivery is both fast and always fully insured. You can also choose to purchase various qualifying gold and silver IRA products, which can be held in your individual retirement account for long-term wealth preservation. We are committed to being your trusted source for low-cost, highest quality investment-grade bullion products. Visit sdbullion.com for more information.
If you enjoyed this content, be sure to give our video a thumbs up. To keep getting bullion-related news and industry insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Finally, hit that alert button so you know when we publish fresh content.